a famous Minecraft player who goes by the name of Dream. He's been using one of my stock audio tracks.
Oh wow, really? Matt and Jason, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, we're here to speak about the Soundtrack Loops bundle, which is now on Fanatical, as this will be out post-launch. Firstly, for those who might not have heard of Soundtrack Loops before, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what the users can experience from the software that you provide and the tracks that you provide?
Sure. I don't know who should go first.
Let's go with Matt
basically,
first.
We're a royalty-free sound company that creates samples that allow you to create your own music by using these samples, mixing and matching them, cutting them up, adding effects, pitching them, transposing them. And in this bundle, I think we did a lot of cinematic and game type music for you guys. And this would be really good for those gamers, basically to use within their games or streaming, even if they want to make music and have music beyond or behind them, during their stream, and they don't have to worry about royalties at that point. Jason,
yeah, it's like sure, yeah, it's kind of like like Matt said, we're kind of like like stock images, stock video, but the audio side of things. But not complete songs yet. We're working on that. But we have sample packs and loops, instrument loops that can be, as Matt said, mixed and matched, and they can be brought into anything that can import a WAV file. So digital audio workstations, different software packages such as Ableton Live, for example, or Acid Pro, or Mixcraft, or Magic's, that's Acid Pro, Pro Tools, even whatever, as well as hardware devices and even video game authoring programs and video editing software. So, users can do quite a bit. They could use these sounds as sound effects, or they can piece together songs and create new compositions. And as Matt mentioned, use them commercially or just independently, whatever, within their streams. They can make new music, release the songs as their own, etc. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We have roughly 61,000 different sounds on our site right now.
Nice.
And lots of different genres. So we tried to make it nice, we tried to curate something interesting and well-rounded for the Fanatical bundle.
Yeah, fantastic.
So hopefully that answers that question for you.
Yeah, no, there's certainly a variety that we've seen on the site and obviously in the bundle. We're thrilled to have it on our store, which obviously, as said, is available now. There's certainly a nice mix of music genres in there. You've got your rock, lo-fi, rap, hip hop. Are there any particular tracks and sounds that you guys enjoy working with and would recommend from this collection?
From the selection that we have with Fanatical, certainly. I mean, well, for me, I don't just work for Soundtrack Loops. I also write music that ends up in video games and TV. So I always kind of tend to gravitate towards the more cinematic, industrial, kind of gritty stuff. That's sort of my, I guess, my love, deep down, that's kind of where I sit. But we're kind of all over the place. Matt and I, we can appreciate all music genres for the most part. Nothing against country, but that's one I don't really vibe too well with. But hey, everyone has their own tastes. But we even have country stuff a little bit on the site as well. Some guitars, and but I'll delve into trap. I like to broaden my horizons, with whatever's new. But as well as, being an 80s, I grew up on music in the 80s, so I love the resurgence of that sound. Vaporwave, or wave, synthwave, all that stuff is really cool to me as well. And so we have a new Cyberpunk pack on our site. It's not in the bundle, but we have some exclusive packs that will be in the bundle that will only be available through the Fanatical site for the time of the offering. So, and I think one of those is a new lo-fi pack. And I love that sound too. See, back in the day when Matt and I, we DJ'd a lot together at different venues and stuff, we used to play a lot of kind of lounge down-tempo music.
Yeah.
And that's all lo-fi really is to us. We still hear it as it's down-tempo music, chill out, lounge stuff. But the catch, phrase now is lo-fi. But really to us, it's just more down-tempo, and it's cool. We love it. So you guys will have one of those, and that's actually going to be a really cool pack. And the other one I think is a techno, like kind of an underground techno pack.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to say to answer that question. I love a lot of different genres.
Right.
And so, but I personally might first go to the cinematic stuff. Sorry for the long-winded answer, but
that's cool. We love long-winded answers. Same to you, Matt. What would be your? I suppose you'll probably say the same thing as well, that you love everything.
It's very similar. Yes. I do love down tempo and lo-fi. So those are basically my study beats or work to beats. So those packs, along with cinematic, actually work really well together. You can kind of blend them really easy. But it definitely helps get me into a groove in producing or just sitting and listening and working on all the other stuff like the artworks or the copy for the site. But there's really not one genre I could say that is my favorite, because when it comes down to it, when you get all the packs, there's just all these little snippets in each and every one of them that is, so good, and you just, create whatever your imagination, takes you to. But definitely chill out and down tempo stuff, and then our synth wave and retro wave stuff is just pretty top notch. I would like to say our producers, not only Jason and I, but the producers that we hire really have their quality down, and it's, you won't be disappointed basically with the sounds that you receive.
That's good to hear. You briefly mentioned there about cyberpunk, that sort of synth theme seems to be very prominent in the game industry at the moment. So that sounds perfect for you guys to be working on stuff like that with something that's certainly trending at the moment.
Yeah, it was definitely something we wanted to get out in time for, the release of that Cyberpunk 77 game, or 2077, and also Cyber Monday, or a Cyber Month, we like to call it.
Yeah.
So we kind of.
Go on, sorry.
I was just gonna say, so we rushed to get that one ready, but it's just silly that cyber, the whole cyber. I don't know if you guys have that, if it's as popular by you as it is by us, the cyber sales and the Black Friday and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're ready for that. Ready for the whole cyber Black Friday thing with an actual cyberpunk pack, Anyway, but so I mean, soundtrack loops thing is, we focus on, we want people to perceive us as a great place for scoring, things like that, but it's also they're just fun sounds. You don't have to be trying to score the next epic film. You can just kind of, like Matt said, pick and choose and see what you come up with,
Yeah.
And they work seamlessly. We edit them perfectly to work seamlessly within these DAWs that, incorporate looping, so when you do draw the loop in, it's going to sound like somebody played that. You won't hear a stop and start point, or, we try to make it very smooth and seamless. And so, and another trick is to kind of keep the performances a little simple, because if they're too complicated, it's hard to kind of mix and match from different packs. So, we don't have like really complicated, busy melodies and stuff. and chord progressions on purpose. You know, it leaves more flexibility, and it opens it up to more cross mixing of genres and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And as you layer, you can kind of add those, you know, complexities to it. When you
and you can chop up the samples and make them sound way more complex if you want. But yeah.
Sounds cool.
Anyway.
You guys just briefly mentioned as well about you used to do a bit of DJing back in the day. Obviously you had the sort of the lo-fi before it was cool, we'll say, before the name.
Yeah.
Obviously I understand that you, Jason, you were the founder of Peace Love Productions, is that right?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And then Matt, you obviously founded Soundtrack Loops back in 2006. I'm just wondering, it'd be great to know how this sort of partnership came about and how you guys started working together, and then you came on to the point that you are now.
Well, you want to start with that, Jason? Yeah, it's a long one.
We have some history. So, I mean, I was born in Chicago. So back in like '98. I got this dream job at Sonic Foundry, a little software company in Madison, Wisconsin. And I was ready, if I got the job, I was ready to uproot and go, you know, because it was so cool. Audio editing at a music software company was like, for someone in their early to mid 20s, was like a dream job, you know, for at least in my world. And so I got the job. I was freaking out. I moved to Madison, and that's where I met Matt. And, we both worked at that company, and you know, we've been friends ever since, and we learned a lot from working there. And when the company itself did really well, they went public, and they said the stocks shot from like $4 to $120 a share in their final year, and then the market crashed, and they like spent their money like crazy, and they just ended up having to sell the company to Sony. And when they did, they downsized. So Matt and I were both like, well, we learned a lot from there. Why don't we take those skills and kind of do what we were doing for them, but just start our own thing? And so that's when I started Peace Love Productions. And it kind of took off. I was actually selling a lot of these loop discs. I had to burn them and stick labels on them and ship them. You know, we didn't do downloads until 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And I was doing all that on eBay, you know, just eBay and PayPal.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a fun time. And Matt was always, you know, helping with stuff. And then I had another business partner, Bernard. And, you know, and then I sold PLP in 2007, and that's when Matt and I joined forces with Soundtrack Loops, because I figured, well, I mean, this is, as much as I kind of tried to like escape it, it kept pulling me back in, you know, the loop business, that is. And it's fun. I don't regret it at all. It's just, sometimes you want to do your own thing too and write some music and this and that.
Yeah. That
came later, but the loops, that whole like thing just kept pulling me back in, and that's how we got, you know, Soundtrack Loops. And I don't know, Matt, I'm sure you want to add to that.
I mean, you know, basically, yeah, you know, I after Sonic Foundry and the you know, the big bubble burst back in the early 2000s, you know, I learned how to do a lot of web development, and that's kind of my web development and the my artistic, which I'm not an artist, but I make a lot of the cover arts for. I made them for the PLP and Soundtrack Loops, and I'm of course also being a musician, but that's really what kind of started it. We tried to. We were really broke, and we really. Needed to find a way to not have so many third parties involved in order just to sell our content. So basically we came up, you know, with demos on the site, you know, which we were kind of one of the first that had actual, you know, live demos of the product on the site on each and every page and underneath the products. But then learned how to basically create an eShop and downloads and all that fun stuff, and get away from third parties and really just take most of the money for ourselves. But from there, we go every year to NAMM, which is in Anaheim, and we gain a lot of contacts through that. And basically, that's how our company has grown. Word of mouth, going to the music conference, and just getting contracts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been over 20 years. Jason and I have been in this business. It's 40 years if you combine it, but it's quite a long time working just solely within royalty-free loop content.
Yeah, certainly a lot of experience behind the scenes then, for definite.
Yeah. So even though Soundtrack Loops wasn't established until really 2006, we were doing it well before even that. It's been a great timeline of experience. I think both of our studios have probably gained in more synthesizers and drum machines all because of it. So I have no qualms about that. I love having all the instruments.
You kind of have to fight that urge off, actually. Like the whole, they call it gear acquisition syndrome. Is that it? So, you're kind of like trying to keep the gas from flaring up. It's like, especially lately nowadays, there's so many, and that's a good point, Matt. One of the things with Soundtrack Loops is we focus heavily on creating with hardware. There's software that can do really great things, software synthesizers, and once in a while we might use some, but for the most part, we're using hardware because we figure, nowadays it's really easy to acquire a virtual synth through maybe Splice with a rent-to-own kind of situation, but it's not so easy for people to get access to some of the hardware pieces that we have. So we feel like that kind of adds a little more value to our content because we're giving people these raw hardware sounds, analog synths, analog drum machines, guitars, things like that. Some unique instruments as well, live drums, hand percussion, things that they can,
actual live performances.
And play. These are sometimes we hire session players to go into the studio and cut the loops, for us. And our Latin packs, for example, those are all live players just playing, in some cool studios, and then we bring that back and edit it. And it just gives our sounds that extra little bit of, special sauce, whatever, And I think that could be important to most people, hopefully. I mean, it's certainly important to me when I'm looking at, something like that online. If I see, wow, that's a high-end, guitar going through it, or even just a decent guitar, but going through the right amp, the right tone, the right microphone, that's something you go, oh, cool, I want that. And so we try to focus on, the hardware side of things. And working in this industry, it's, like I said, really difficult to not want to buy everything. But the nice thing is that we have a few other composers and producers that we hire that help with this. So they might have some things we don't have, and it kind of all comes together in the final product.
Sounds cool.
So, yeah.
From people who are just starting out in film, music, gaming, and they're starting to use these royalty-free loops, and for people who are veterans who have been using this sort of software and tracks for a while, what are the benefits of using those tracks and loops from yourselves compared to, say, other people on the market?
Well, I mean, from us, that you're definitely getting something that is royalty-free. We are an established trademark company, so we do take pride that everything is in-house made. Everything is all the files and formats that are available all have the correct metadata, which basically the metadata within audio files, it's read in DAWs, and in those digital audio workstations, it can read information such as like BPM, key, what instrument it is. So we make sure to have all that stuff in there. So when you get it, you're going to be able to find your sample or what you're looking for fast. It's going to work. And really also our tech support. It is just Jason and I with tech support, but we're on top of it. And we've been on top of it since the beginning. So anytime there's ever a problem, we'll respond. Unless it's overnight for us, we'll respond pretty much within 5 minutes even. But we're definitely getting quality samples cut perfectly and precisely, where we learn the right tricks and tools of the trade on how to do this. Where a lot of companies nowadays, they're just kind of they're getting into the loop business, and they think they know how to kind of create loops, but in reality they're not doing it right. There might be a silence or a click at the end when it loops. So with ours, you're definitely not going to get that. And if there is a problem, we'll fix it, and we'll basically take care of it and hopefully retain those customers, lifelong. And most of our customers have been around since the beginning. And when the new ones learn about us, there's like, wow, where were you guys? We've always been here. So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we have pretty high standards for QC and stuff, like Matt mentioned, and our meta tag, we're tagging the files, we're doing a lot of that. And also, like he said, customer service, we're very personable. You're gonna get real people that actually work there, and we're working probably longer hours than most at times. And but that's because we love what we do.
Yeah,
we really love it. And that's another thing. So you're gonna get that too. You're gonna get that like love and inspiration from actual people, and so that kind of gets baked into the, as they say, I forget that phrase about like, something tastes better when it's cooked with love. Our sounds are cooked with love. But I also wanted to add that there might be competitors with more brand, like, I don't want to say brand recognition. We're all over the place. Our sounds are bundled with some of the hottest pieces of gear right now. For example, 1010 Music's Black Box. We created 50 presets. There's 800 samples in that, and that thing is flying off the shelves right now. Yeah, there's one. And so, and we're bundled. Yeah, and some of our sounds are bundled with some of the best, coolest DAWs out there. So we're definitely out in the public, and people, they know the name, but we're still sort of at times maybe a little more underground. And I think the nice thing about that is that you're not gonna get the same batch of sounds that you get from a company that is another competitor that's spreading that same batch of sounds around. Licensing them, for example, they might have the same 500 loops that they keep licensing to everyone, right? Whereas with us, you're going to get a different batch, a different palette. And that's what I think helps us stand out, is that, that's where we came up with our recent, tagline, be unique, right? So I feel like you'll have more authentic, unique sounds through us. And that's pretty much what I think also helps us stand out from the rest. If 1 million people use the same loop in their song, you're going to recognize that loop and, oh, I've heard that So with us, you might have a better chance of, not recognizing some of the sounds. I think that helps. It helps the creator to sound more unique.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps us stand out. Anyway, I think that pretty much covers it.
It's a little early morning for us, so
I know. I'm like,
we're still kind of like.
I have another cup. I'm thinking I need another cup of coffee.
Yeah, I know.
I'm ready for my tea in a minute. I was going to say, you
Yeah.
guys are just waking up. You just said it there as well. I think people enjoy coming to you guys and using you guys because you have that unique sound about the songs that you provide, the accessibility, with the tech support, which was going to bring me on to one of my final points actually, where there's a large number of streamers and content creators these days working on their own songs and audio for their videos. And just to reiterate, this bundle and the tracks that you can get in it can help them create unique sounds and essentially avoid any copyright infringements.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we're very active. Actually, we were kind of on the forefront of that new technology, the Content ID stuff with YouTube, trying to figure that out right away. We've been involved with one of our partners, AdRev, okay, and that's a friend of mine, Noah. He's here in California. AdRev does all our Content ID for us, and so we have to protect our demos just so that people don't, if they don't buy the pack and they rip it off the website and try to steal it, we know.
Yeah.
But we're also protecting our customers as well, because you don't want someone to register something they created or register one of our demo songs and it's happened before we do, because then everyone else who buys that loot pack is going to get flagged and they can't go to us. They're going to have to go to some stranger, right, to have it fixed. And it's just the weird world we live in now because of YouTube Content ID. So yes, and the long story short is that we are on top of that. If there ever is a problem, it's even in our EULA. We can remedy that issue if there ever is one, real quick. We're super tight with AdRev, and we already have a system in place. So we just want to make sure that our customers can use these creations that they make with no glitches. And as Matt said, we will respond right away if need be, and we understand the importance of that.
Yeah.
So yes, and they can definitely use the music they create in their streams and monetize the videos, copyright free. They're in the world, basically everything is copyrighted, especially in the US. The minute you lift your hand off the paper from writing something, right, it's copyrighted.
Yeah.
Technically. So we have to own our assets. We own the rights to our assets, but we're selling these end users, a license to use our content royalty free. And so they shouldn't have a problem. If they're a legit customer and they buy the package, they won't have any problems. That's just how we operate. So anyway, long story short, yes, no copyright glitches on YouTube when you use soundtrack loops, and we'll make sure of it. And if, like I said, if there's a problem, we're on top of it. We can get that fixed quickly.
Contact us,
so
get it whitelisted,
yeah,
or whatever's needed.
Yeah.
Again,
we understand the importance of that, like big time. I do, especially because I write music for other things. So
yeah,
so that's another thing that kind of makes us stand out. We are working in that industry as well, not just the loops and samples, but also in the music composition side of things.
Yeah.
So we totally get it. We're on that side of the composer to help them with whatever they need, really. So hopefully that clears that up, because I know it's a big issue. And in fact, I'll tell you something. I just found out that a famous Minecraft player who goes by the name of Dream, he's been using one of my stock audio tracks.
Oh wow, really?
yeah, in his streams, and he bought a license from one of my partners and uses it, legitimately. So that's fine. And so now I have the song on my YouTube, and I'm getting like 500 to 1,000 spins a day because he uses this frequently in his speed runs. I don't know, Minecraft, if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
So these guys are really good. They do these speed runs and manhunts and stuff like that. And his channel is huge. He's like one of the biggest Minecraft streamers on YouTube. And he actually has a team who they drop, depending on the action in the game, they'll drop different royalty-free songs to kind of, change the feel and the mood, and the tension and whatnot. So he's using one of mine, as I said. And so, no problem. Like these are the people we want to support and help these guys, because, this is the future right now, with streaming, and playing games and streaming. So we're trying to actually branch out more into that realm.
Yeah. And
hopefully maybe even partner up with some of those guys, to kind of help fuel that industry, because I think it's really cool, and it's kind of a no-brainer for us to get involved in that. So yeah, there I go again. Sorry. I need to learn to just.
I think he's covered all your points there, Matt.
Sorry, Matt.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right.
Just lastly, just looking ahead for you guys, is there any other projects you're working on? Obviously, COVID's probably it might have affected actually, but I'm thinking you probably both work from home anyway. But is there any new projects that you guys are working on going into the new year? Is it a case of just trying to expand on the library that you've got? What's happening at Soundtrack Loops?
Yeah, well, actually, we are going to start doing, how can I say this? Basically, a special artist for the cover art of our content. So we're basically teaming up with, local artists, just friend artists, people, to design cover art for us. And what we plan on doing is at least getting four separate cover arts from each artist, giving them a bio, talking about them, what inspired them to make the art for these new unreleased sound packs. In fact, you're getting one or two of the artworks, but we're not going to talk about that until that's all over. But so yeah, we're going to team up. We're going to promote some local, friend artists, and just kind of, let everybody know that, since we're such a small personal company, we're able to actually reach out and talk to you and promote and help, pay, if we want content from an artist, we definitely pay them and help them through the COVID and, financial problems during this time. We've been fortunate that COVID hasn't really affected this part of the business.
Yeah.
So it's been very helpful that we're able to donate and donate our time and give advice and pay people who maybe even just getting into this, and get their name out there and basically just get new content and again, just helping people. I think that's our main thing. So we'll be doing that and producing we have lots of content ready to come out. So we're kind of holding on to a lot of it because of the Fanatical bundle.
Sounds good. Well, I wish you all the best for the future, guys, and obviously we're so glad to have you on the store with the Soundtrack Loops bundle. Can't wait to see what people think of it. I'll let you guys go and get your coffee, because it's clearly a little bit earlier in your neck of the woods than it is on our side. Appreciate your time, boys, and wish you all the best with the new year and what's to come for what sounds like a really exciting future.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed that interview, guys. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out on social media, and also check out the Fanatical blog for the latest news.